good.
Damn it, Chloe! We're running out of time!
Oh my god!
We're running out of time! I need the downloads!
I'll get them to you right away.
No, you check. No. Not very good, Chloe.
I'm sorry, I didn't
Gotta
really
act all
watch the
annoyed.
show, so...
Like a hacker.
Oh,
Hacker
okay.
lady.
All right.
We are out of time. We don't have any time. We got to do this.
No.
We're going to do the show in 1 hour. It's live.
Yeah.
Here we are.
This
with
is
no
going to be
warning
interesting. Yes.
to the crowds
Yeah.
of adoring followers. So, yeah, we're going live. We got a lot to talk about. It's going to be 1 hour, and I need you to say something. Introduce yourself.
I'm Mikan Hana.
Okay, Mika and Hana could get a little closer to her mic, but maybe I'll just bump her up a
All
little
right.
bit.
I'll get closer.
That's perfect.
Okay.
Now I'm going to take my monitor out,
Okay.
and we're good to go.
All right.
And I can't even hear if we do something like a sound effect or something like that. But I'm just going to assume that they work. We have a lot to talk about. We're the Just Enough Tour podcast. I'm your host, Calvin. Jones by my co-host. Is it too fast?
Hi,
It's
I'm
probably too
Mikan
fast.
Hana.
Yeah, it's too fast. All right, we can go a little slower than that. But yeah, we're trying to get this in economically and just get all this stuff that we're here to talk about. Introducing many of these concepts for the very first time, like celebrity deaths.
Yeah.
We got this new feature where we're going to, we got a couple things to talk about from that regard. We've also got a review of the DS9 documentary called What We Left Behind. Yep. We're going to talk a little bit about what we are into right now, a little checkup.
Mm-hmm.
What are you reading? What are you looking at? That sort of thing. Also, we're going to be talking about the last episode of GOT.
Yeah.
That's Game of Thrones.
Yeah. For
you pros out there. The finale's on tonight.
Right.
We're talking about last week's episode. And
Yeah,
in order to
episode
prolong
5.
the magic, or lack thereof, I guess, things spontaneously combust. That's like the extent of the magic.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess
I
dragons
think so.
themselves are magic.
This
no,
is
there was
true.
a shadow murderer baby that killed somebody.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll be talking about the finale next week. And after all the dust or ash has settled about
Right.
people's responses to stuff. And then we'll get to our main theme. Oh, we'll be looking at a couple trailers. The clock's running.
I know.
It's still running.
I know.
You can hear it. And then also we have to get on to our feature, which is we're talking about the Romanian film 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days.
Yes.
Why?
Because we want to talk about the recent abortion laws that have
Abortion.
been...
Abortion would be
Hey!
if Apple comes up with a device like the Newton or something that's not very successful, and they just get rid of it, just get it out of there,
Abortion
and then
laws.
drop it down a garbage chute.
We don't have time for this joke.
No, we don't at all. You're right. We absolutely do not have time for this. So that's what we're talking about. How you doing? If we have time for that.
I'm doing well, Cal. I'm ready to start talking about the show and all the things that we have to talk about. So.
Yeah, this is a little experiment for us.
Yes.
Just kind of try to blow through this stuff. Did I say the news?
No, you don't think you did.
Is there even time for news?
I don't know if there is time for news, to be perfectly honest.
I know we don't have time for a squirrel.
No.
Which
Not
is
on
what
water
we call
skis.
the
Yeah.
humorous last story that we usually do.
Yeah.
I would have to kill that squirrel. And normally that would involve a gunshot sound effect, but we'll have to just set a panther on it. So that squirrel is going to be gone. Let's talk about the news. All right, in the world of the nerdy news,
Yes.
What do I even have to say here? Avengers still kicking butt, but John Wick took it down.
I can't believe it.
Blam! Shot in the
Wow.
face. The Avengers.
Yeah. I guess they stole the Avengers dog.
Moving on. Yeah.
Who's
it's
that?
looking-
Rocket? I don't know.
Lockjaw? Actually, I'd like to see John Wick try and kill Lockjaw. That's not even going to happen. They're looking at around a $55 million debut for the third film, Parabellum.
Wow.
We are out of titles.
Yeah. What the hell is Parabellum?
A Parabellum?
Yeah.
It's... You always ask the questions that make this look like... No, we don't have time. Beep, beep, beep. I don't know, but it's going to get shot in its face.
Okay.
I'll tell you that
All
much.
right.
Any love for the John Wick series?
I have not seen any of the films. I just vaguely know
There's
what it's
nothing.
about. So,
There's
no,
nothing we can
not
do
really a comment here.
With
So,
her at all? There's
Yeah.
nothing we can do.
no.
Me either. I have seen the first one, and here goes all the turnoffs. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
And so I thought, why would I watch the next two?
Right,
But
exactly.
maybe it's one of those things that gets better
Maybe.
as it goes.
I don't know.
But I just thought, like, an assassin who just absolutely cannot be stopped by anything is not challenged by much. And the main bad guy is Reek from Game of Thrones.
Oh, great.
So was not too attracted to that.
No.
In no particular order, because the clock, it's always running. It's almost like you can just hear it running. But looks like, remember Sir Barristan Selmy from the Game of the Thrones?
No, I don't.
He's the greatest swordsman in all of Westeros.
Okay.
Even better than Jaime Lannister.
Okay.
The actor behind him, no time to look up his name, said that George Martin is sitting on the 2 unfinished books. They're already done. He's just waiting for the show to come out. Books 6 and 7.
I find that hard to believe.
And so did George Martin. That somebody would say that because George Martin immediately came out in an interview and said, "No, I'm not even done with number 6."
Right.
So it's like good own, but also a self-own.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because isn't the whole thing like, get these books done?
Yes.
We're running out of time.
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, why would he just sit on them? He wants money. Like, you know what I mean? Like, He would just get more money.
Yeah.
So
he's got a lot of other stuff going on, too.
Yeah,
so,
this is true.
Yeah, that's too bad. We'll see if those books ever come out, ever.
Yes.
Looks like, we're talking about Game of Thrones, which we will do later. But, of course, the show is wrapping up this week, tonight.
Yes.
And the creators are going on to their Star Wars work.
I know.
Star Wars / Disney has announced that the Star Wars movies will be coming out in 2022, 2024, 2026. That is the new pace for, saga films.
Sure.
Now, if that's side stuff, if they're going to do Rogue 2 or whatever, we don't know, but we know that the message has been received. Too much Star Wars. They're pulling back. And now these idiots that ruined Game of Thrones are going to ruin some Star Wars for us.
I can't wait till they
starting
ruin
in 2022.
some female characters on Star Wars.
Oh, there won't be any female characters. Well, there might be one. By the name of Bastila Shan, because it looks like the rumors are that Knights of the Old Republic will be the subject for their trilogy series.
Okay.
Now, there's a deep, deep lore for at least 2 games for Knights of the Old Republic. There's lots of comic books, a lot of them written by John Jackson Miller, former guest on the show. And so I'm hoping that they took a lot of books.
Yeah,
that
they
already
did.
existed and kind of ruined them. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Not having an ending is not these guys' smart.
No,
strong point.
No, they need an ending. They need something that they can work towards.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What would you like to see from D&D Star Wars?
I don't know. Something that doesn't let me down at the end. Like
Ewoks?
Yeah.
Like, no.
Right. Well, the no was that was really bad. That
Star
was
Wars
laughable.
ending doesn't seem to be the strong point for that either.
Well, when Darth Vader does his no, it's just comical. I remember laughing in the theater. That is not supposed to be a laughable moment. So let's not do that.
Yub-nub versus no. Go.
I would take Ewoks every day.
Yub-nub? Okay.
Yeah. Every day.
Me too.
So.
Speaking of Disney, it looks like Disney has assuming direct control of Hulu in a deal with Comcast.
I heard about this.
Comcast will essentially they'll retain some of their share.
Okay.
But they are essentially giving up creative control or programming control.
I don't understand why they did this. I really don't.
Money.
Disney gave them money.
Yeah.
Disney's giving everybody money.
Yeah.
Now Disney has a couple of platforms. They have Hulu and they have Disney Plus.
Now they have a
more
platform.
Adult platform. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I hate to see that we predicted this, but we predicted this.
Yeah, I suppose we did.
This will probably become the outlet for their quote-unquote adult-themed sort of things. They've already kind of done that with their PG-13 stuff on Hulu. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff, hopefully?
Yeah, hopefully. Don't you feel like Mandalorian is supposed to be PG-13, but that's going to be on Disney Plus?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't think that any Star Wars has aspired to PG-13. I know that Force Awakens was... Yeah, all the new modern Star Wars movies have essentially been PG-13, but it's... it's just more blow-ups and decapitations.
More violent.
But it's... Yeah. But it's still kid-friendly.
Stuff. Yeah.
So, yeah, I would hope that the Mandalorian would strive for something a little more adult.
Yeah.
But it's too much. It's too much Star Trek. We got to keep going.
Okay.
All right.
Star Wars, not Star Trek.
Yeah. Well, we're getting to that. Let's talk about the first of our celebrity deaths to talk about. Unfortunately, Funny Man Tim Conway has passed away.
About this, yes.
And if I don't know, would you want to be called Funny Man? So
I
people
guess.
are doing it.
That's what he was known for. So he was on the Carol Burnett show
absolutely.
for years.
But I don't know if I ever become famous for being funny and then I die. I don't know if I want people to say, "Funny man Caliban was found dead on a swing set."
Stop.
He died at the age of 85. Of course, he's been in many, 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 many funny movies. Not recently necessarily, but had a real hot time in the 70s and 80s.
Yes.
And a lot of good stuff. And of course, he was a, what's the word? Not companion, but somebody who worked with Carol Burnett quite a bit.
Yeah.
And Harvey Korman, of course, who has preceded him into the great beyond. But yeah, he will be missed. It's sad.
Yes.
Hadn't heard from him for a while.
Yeah.
Good memories.
Yes, definitely.
He had done, let's leave Dorf out of this, but I didn't know that he had done some voices on SpongeBob.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
But I mean, at this point, SpongeBob is 20 years old.
Yeah, you're right.
It's like super old.
I know.
So.
Well, and the creator of that passed away not that long ago either.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways. Happy stuff.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Dying is easy. Comedy's hard.
Oh, my gosh.
That's what they say. Looking at the comic side of Marvel's business, I don't know if you know about this. We haven't talked about the X-Men in a while, but Marvel is going to cancel the X-Men and relaunch the entire line. Why?
Disney?
Do you know what's going on in the X-Men?
No,
Do you care?
don't. I don't.
Nobody else really does either. So this is an effort from them to try to generate
Just
some
clear the
interest
slate.
in the line.
Okay.
Yeah. They are currently working with Jonathan Hickman, who is famous for being a pretty good writer, also a very involved writer, doing these long-running sort of storylines, is doing the X-Men currently. He kind of defected to DC for about 10 seconds. After his long run on Avengers, a lot of which his Avengers work has made it into
the movies,
films, and will probably be the basis of future films.
Sure.
Now he's back at Marvel. He's doing X-Men. So yeah, I think that this is like laying the groundwork.
Sure.
Putting the bed down.
Yep.
To get ready for hopefully future exciting show. Yeah, films and Hulu storylines.
Oh boy.
X-Men on Hulu.
Yeah, there you go.
Hopefully something good's going to be there. I guess we could wait to talk about this for Game of Thrones. We'll just do it now. People are pissed. People are pissed about what we're going to talk about.
Yes.
We'll get there in a second.
I am one of those people.
Just to set that up, they've started an online petition for HBO to redo the last season. It's reached over 1 million signatures.
Mm-hmm.
Keep that.
Does not surprise me.
Keep that up here. Keep that in your mind.
Yeah.
As we move forward through our news, because the clock is always running. Running out of time.
I'm so nervous.
Netflix and the CW have ended their deal, or at least their deal will not be renewed.
Yeah, right. The shows that are on CW will no longer be on Netflix at some point.
Well, they will. Yes, that's right.
Yep.
So from here on out, they're going to shop their shows out individually. Although I'd have to imagine a large number of them will end up on DC Universe.
Well, yeah, whenever they get that started.
So this includes new shows, the new Katie Keene Riverdale spinoff, the new Nancy Drew show.
All right.
And, of course, the new Batwoman series starring Ruby Rose. They will not be directly going to Netflix. Here's a good spot for us to talk. Oh,
I was going to just say that.
You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
To talk about the Batwoman trailer.
Yes.
Batwoman, what'd you think?
I thought it was pretty good. It was kind of long, really, for a trailer. I think it was like 3 or so many minutes long.
Yeah, it's really like a series setup and introduction.
It is. I mean, it has like all the beats of like, you know, like her dad is somebody in like law enforcement or something like that, and he's trying to keep Gotham safe.
Played by Dougray Scott, I believe.
Yeah, and then like her friend, her maybe sometimes
I didn't get the names. Everything was kind of flashing around. Is that Maggie Sawyer? Is that?
I don't know.
Okay.
They didn't make that clear.
If only we had a producer to look that up.
Yeah, I know.
I know Maggie Sawyer is a character on Supergirl.
Oh, okay. Interesting. But her friend, sometimes lover, or maybe former lover, I don't know. It's not very clear. Somebody who's close to her gets kidnapped, and so she takes this kind of personally, and she wants to get involved. And like her dad is like, stay out of it, but she doesn't listen because she's rebellious and she's Batman's cousin, so she just kind of does whatever the heck she wants to do.
Right.
She shows up at Wayne Manor, and there's this one guy, this only guy, like trying to like hold down the fort wherever Bruce is. Nobody knows where he is.
Right. To me, it looks like they're doing Girl Batman.
exactly
Batwoman.
Yes.
I know it's literally Batwoman,
Yeah.
but they took that literally. It's not.
Yes.
It seems like the character setup is essentially the same. And
More or
to be
less.
honest, I haven't been watching like Arrow. I don't know what they've already set up for Kate Kane, but
Sure.
it's instead of her being like, well, I'm also a bat person, but
Yeah.
I do stuff. She's literally in the Batcave
Yes.
in Wayne Manor, wearing like a modified version of Batman's costume, which I
Right.
think, and you made the point, she's not going to have the hair. I think she will, because she
She
does in all the
does.
posters. I think what we see in this trailer of a no hair,
Just
full
the
cowl,
Yeah.
is her. This is from the pilot, like from the
Yes.
first couple
I
episodes,
agree
where
with you.
she's using like her cousin's tech, and then later on makes her own stuff.
Well, I actually rewatched it,
Oh.
and at the very, very end of the trailer, there's a flash of her with a red hair
Good
wig.
eyes.
So,
Yeah.
but I didn't notice that before. But yeah, this is just the cowl. So I think you're right. I think it's the pilot, and I think maybe even by the end of the pilot or the next episode, somewhere in there, she has the red wig. So.
You didn't
Which
say if
is
you
good.
liked it or not.
I am cautiously optimistic, I guess. It looks pretty good so far. It's not really clear whether or not the blonde-haired villain is her real sister. She says something in the trailer about like tell your dad something.
Yeah.
So I don't know if like maybe they're half siblings.
It looks like they're doing the Greg Rucka stuff. Though,
It does.
yeah,
It does.
I hope it's so weird. It was never going to survive fully transitionally to TV, having a character just speaking in Lewis Carroll quotes. But
Well, right.
I hope they don't screw it up too bad.
I hope they don't either.
Yeah, and as far as it all goes, I mean, it could be cool. We've talked a lot on this show about do it, cowards, make a Batman show.
Yeah, right.
And it looks like that's what they're doing with this. So
Yes.
I'm cool on that. I'm not a huge Ruby Rose fan, but I'm willing to give her a shot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'll probably check this out.
It looks like she's owning the character.
What?
What?
Oh, we gotta keep moving.
Okay, all right.
Rick and Morty season 4 premiering in 2019,
Okay.
November of this year.
Looking forward to it.
Make the show. Where's my sauce?
Oh my gosh.
I'm looking forward to them mounting this problem and not being steamrolled by it. Just
By fans.
the perception of it having a very toxic fan base, and
Yeah.
just I don't know. I feel like I'm over it.
Oh, you're over
I'm not
Rick and Morty?
excited about
Okay.
watching it, and I hope that they get a hold of that, and they've got 7 more seasons or whatever.
Yeah.
You're going to have to do something. You can't just keep doing the same thing. Look at The Simpsons, look at Family Guy. Clearly you can.
Yeah.
I hope they decide to not do the same thing.
Right,
and
do
take
something
it in some
different.
cool new direction. Yeah. Hey, did you know that Chris Rock is rebooting Saw?
Why? Why, Chris Rock? That's what I would ask. Is he going to play Jigsaw or something? Please tell me
yeah.
he plays somebody else.
I don't know if he plays anybody. I'm sure he's in a producing role. But
I see.
Yeah. I don't know. More on
Something that nobody asked for,
as
but
it
that's okay.
tries to kill you. Hey, Sony announced that the new PlayStation 5, coming out November 2020. Price point?
Okay, what is it?
$500.
Why?
No, that's good.
Is it?
How much is your phone?
Oh,
Well, your
I
phone, you have a crappy
guess.
phone. How much
Yeah.
is a phone?
Like 400,
$1,200?
500? Yeah, okay.
400, 500 bucks. Yeah, right. No. This is like the NES in 1987 was $500 in 1987 money.
Well, what was the
so
last PlayStation?
This is amazingly cheap. It was
Okay.
around that.
I thought it was like 300 or 350.
Keep talking about how much you love the PlayStation, and
well,
I'll look up the launch price.
I don't
want to
keep talking about it because I don't really know that much about it, and
We're
gonna
working on her,
sound
guys.
stupid.
We're working on making her into a gamer. It's not quite getting there
Wow.
just yet.
I mean, I guess I like it more than like GameCube or
All right,
whatever.
it was. I think it was $399.
Okay.
So
all right.
I assume
I
that.
guess adjust for inflation. I don't know.
Well, so the PS4 Pro came out a year or two ago, I think, and it was all in HD, and that was like, more. That was like $800, $900,
Okay.
at least initially. And I think that you have to assume all that technology will now be included. It's not
Okay.
just an ad.
Sure.
So if you've got all the capabilities of the PS4 Pro plus next generation stuff that leads into another 10 years of games, $500, I'd shell out for that.
All right. Okay.
Wow, we're working on her. Still working on her. Let's
All
talk
right.
about our next celebrity death.
Oh, boy.
Woo! Ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding.
No, this is not a ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding.
No, it's not. Doris Day has passed away at the age of 97.
Yeah.
Somebody else who, at least in my estimation, I don't remember her doing a lot of stuff
in recent years.
Recently,
no,
yeah.
I don't think she really did.
No,
but she was
released...
a huge movie star.
Yeah,
for years. So
she released an album in 2011.
Really?
Yes, at the age of 89.
Wow,
she became
good for
the oldest
her.
artist ever to score a UK top 10 hit.
That's awesome.
But her gap between her last album before that was the Love album from '67. So
wow. Yeah. Okay. Huh. Interesting.
Really big star in the '60s. Film star in the '60s.
Yes.
Was in some really great films.
It's a huge romantic lead in films.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. For sure. Blonde bombshell.
Blonde bombshell. She was always a nice girl.
Yeah. Well, that's
wasn't really
true.
like a.
I suppose not a femme fatale. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
But yeah, she was in a Hitchcock movie, Man Who Knew Too Much. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He liked blondes.
Yeah, she did. She's in some great films with James Cagney and.
Sure. Yeah.
It's kind of a screwball comedy type stuff.
Yeah.
So,
excellent.
Yeah.
Gonna be missed.
Gonna be missed.
Yeah.
Sure will. Not the only one.
Yeah, I know.
We'll get to a couple in a bit.
Oh,
moving on, we're talking about Game of Thrones again.
Yep.
I haven't organized these stories.
It's okay.
It looks like the... actually, we're not going to talk about Game of Thrones. We'll just save it off for the Game of Thrones segment.
That sounds fine.
Dumb. The Goon. You know about The Goon?
No, I
don't know
don't.
about The Goon. Eric Powell created a comic series called The Goon.
Okay.
Which, what is it? I don't know. It's weird. It's kind of like a mystery throwback. It's kind of Mike Mignola, guy fights monsters type thing. It's just really popular. It's been like this kind of cult hit for a long time. Well, it looks like it will finally get greenlit for an adaptation after the Disney-Fox merger.
Oh, okay.
It had been in process for a while. Nobody seemed to be able to make it work or pull the trigger on it. And although Disney has cut a lot of Fox's projects that are in process, it looks like they're going forward with The Goon.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
Okay. Well, if you don't have much to say about that...
I don't. Let's keep going.
I nearly have something to say about this.
Okay.
The fact that Robert Pattinson is being tapped to play the Batman.
Yes.
And Matt Reeves is the Batman.
I'm actually okay with this. I'm way more okay with this when I first heard that Ben Affleck was going to play Batman. I was not happy about that at all. He turned out to be okay. I don't think he was fantastic.
Let's not kill the lily.
But, okay. But I think Robert Pattinson, I think he's a good actor. I think he could pull off being the Batman. And who doesn't want to be the Batman? I think everybody does. So
Ryan Gosling doesn't.
Okay,
you know they've asked him.
Yeah, probably.
They have to have.
But I think he has potential to do a really good job. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I could. Yeah, I won't go through a whole list because, of course, the clock is always running.
Yes.
And so we can't spend too much time talking about it. But yeah, I think he is a vastly underrated actor. Mm-hmm. If you watch, not a great film necessarily, but if you watch Cosmopolis, based on the DeLillo novel from 2012, he's playing Bruce Wayne, basically. Mm-hmm. My only thing is that he's a little small.
He's kind of a skinny guy, even though he can, lots of muscles.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
he's a little skinnier.
Look at Michael Keaton.
Yeah, I know.
George Clooney's not tall.
That's true.
He'll put on 45 pounds of muscle, and we'll be fine. But that's kind of the thing about Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne. It isn't the fact that I hope you don't have a distinctive jaw, and I hope that your glasses are very disguising.
Right.
It's the fact that these guys are like these mild-mannered guys, but they're like 6'3" and like built.
Yeah.
Like if you ran into Clark Kent in an alley and it was dark, you'd be like, ugh! You'd be like, oh, Clark, you hayseed, you scared the crap out of me.
Right,
like,
exactly.
These are big guys.
Yeah, yeah.
And so having, maybe you could have like a more lithe. I see, like he'd be a great Nightwing, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But like I said, I think that he's a great actor. I think that once the furor dies down and the fervor, the urban fervor, dies down, we can start to sort of get into this, and hopefully we've got a Ledger situation in our hands. But
that's what I'm hoping to.
Not the last 5%.
Yeah. Okay.
Of that situation.
Right.
Apparently, his film will feature the Penguin and Catwoman. That's the bad news.
Oh, creative.
I can't see anything good coming out of that.
Yeah.
I don't know why we're doing that.
No, why are we doing that again?
But apparently whatever. That's what's happening there. Let's go to our number three. Number 3 on the celebrity death list.
Yes. You were laughing.
Grumpy Cat has gone to the great scratching post in the sky at the age of 7.
I'm so sad about this. She was only 7. Yeah. I think, wasn't it like a urinary tract?
I don't know.
It was something she couldn't shake. It was some, ailment that, cats get, I think, fairly frequently, but for whatever reason, she just couldn't shake it. And
yes.
And she died. And that's really sad. She was only 7, which I think is fairly young for a cat.
That is young for a cat.
I know she had a lot of other kind of health issues. Because, the way that she looked, it was, there were reasons behind that. So, but
the clock's running.
I know. We're going to miss Grumpy Cat. She was a meme legend, and we're going to miss her so much. So.
Yeah. Right up there with Pikachu and Guy, who's got AirPods in. Oh, my God. He can't hear us. Let's move on to our next story. Looks like Kevin Feige has confirmed that there's somewhere, we haven't seen it yet, there is a video of Luis recapping the entire
I have heard
universe.
this, and I would like that to be on YouTube now.
Which means, and it'll probably be on a deleted scene or extra on a DVD,
Endgame or something.
Yeah, along with a previs scene of Ant-Man going inside Thanos' butt.
Oh my God!
Just guessing.
Great.
Well, if they're listening to the fans,
I guess.
Yeah, let's move on from there. Our last death, and I've saved it for the last. I don't think that this is worth less than Grumpy Cat.
No.
But this is the and so-and-so. In this case, it's and Herman Wouk, who is a world-famous, amazing novelist, died at the age of 103, which is not too bad.
Yes.
And, of course, wrote The Caine Mutiny and won the Pulitzer Prize for that. And
right.
It's too bad that he had to die on the same day as Grumpy Cat. It's
right.
a Farrah Fawcett, Michael Jackson situation.
Yes. And I actually saw there's some special on Farrah Fawcett for the 10-year anniversary of her passing that's coming out.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So
that's news.
Yeah.
Married to this is just the thing I have to bring up when I can.
Sure.
Married to the same woman since 1945 until her death in
Impressive.
2011.
Okay.
So, yeah. Great guy. Wins a War. Great book.
Okay.
And our last story before we move on, because the clock is just continually ticking. We're running out of time.
I'm so nervous.
It looks like Hulu, the aforementioned Hulu, will be developing Stephen King's Eyes of the Dragon.
I am not familiar with this story.
Eyes of the Dragon is one of King's earliest novels. It is set in medieval times, or sort of a medieval-ish world. It's really the origin of Walter Flagg, or what's his name? The walking dude. Hard case.
The walking
Captain
dude?
Trips.
What are you
Flag.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, well, Stephen King fans, and I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yes, he plays a wizard or something like that. And it's sort of a fantasy-esque world. I think a lot of people are going to be looking for that Game of Thrones replacement now that Game of Thrones is gone.
Yeah, I think you're right. This seems like such a departure for King, but okay.
No, departure. He wrote it in 1981.
What is his favorite first books? Okay.
Still in the Coke days.
All right. Wow.
That being said, and speaking of replacements for Game of Thrones, let's talk about some possible replacements for Game of Thrones. We already talked about Batwoman. Let's talk about the new HBO show, His Dark Materials.
Yes, let's.
What do you got?
Well, not a whole lot. It is a very quick trailer. It just basically sets the stage for the story. I did not see the original film when it came out years ago, and I have not read the books. I'm embarrassed to say. But it looks like it's going to be pretty fantastical, and James McAvoy is very menacing with his voiceover. And you mentioned that the young girl in it is actually the same actress.
Daphne Keane.
Yeah, from what's the Wolverine film called?
Logan.
Thank you. Yeah, so that's exciting. I thought she did a wonderful job in that, so I'm excited to see her in this. What did you think?
I thought it looks good.
Yes.
I think that if you want to remake something, you remake something that didn't work the first time. And this is that.
Yes.
But usually you do something vastly different. This looks a lot like that 2007 movie, The Golden Compass.
You're right.
And there's certain things you can't change.
Right.
What we've seen, it just looks like a lot of the same elements are there. We're in the canals in Oxford and longboats, and there are some people called the Egyptians. There's a lot of analogs that are like, all right, Phil, you could have stretched it a little more, but I see what you're doing. They live in an alternate universe that's very similar to our own.
Yeah.
They're clearly in the Arctic at some point.
Yes.
We see polar bears. We see really the second call you make after Sam Elliott, Lin-Manuel Miranda as Lee Scoresby. Something we don't see a lot of is the demons, the animals.
No, we don't.
So I'm hoping that they really nail that, because that's really important in that universe. And, it's 8 episodes. It's been renewed for another 8 episodes. So it looks like they'll probably get into the second book, which is much different than the first book.
Sure.
And I hope they really step on it. I hope they, HBO has no problem saying, oh, there's no God, right?
Right.
So I hope they really step on it and we get something good out of it. I know there's a lot of talent in it.
Yeah. Ruth Wilson is also in it, and I think she does a great job.
She's not playing her grandmother?
No, apparently not. So
that really
blew
you away when I told you about that.
I know.
Mrs. Wilson.
Yes.
Check it out.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess that's the end of that, right?
Yeah, we got to keep moving.
Yeah, it looks like we're going on to our next thing. We're talking about What We Left Behind, the documentary that is the 25th anniversary of
I don't
DS9.
know. You wouldn't ask me that.
But it probably is. It was created by, the show was written by and produced by Ira Steven Behr, and he is one of the guys, along with David Zappone, who directed the doc.
Yes.
It is a look back at the series Star Trek Deep Space Nine. It was all kickstarted or Indiegogo'd or whatever it was.
Right.
And
by
so
fans.
they've all got their copies. I don't think this is its version of a theatrical release. It didn't get a theatrical release, but it got a Fathom event.
Yes.
And so that's where we saw it. What'd you think?
I really enjoyed it. I thought they did an excellent job of recapping and just talking about what it was like working on the show. I thought it was really interesting and great. I mean, they really interviewed the majority of the actors that were on the show. Even if they had, somewhat smaller parts.
Yeah, there's one part where one of the casting directors talks about all the people that they had.
Yes.
And the fact that the show was 9 principal actors, but it was also this Simpson-esque amount of people. And they named off the 50 people who were all essentially on hold, who could appear on any episode at any time. And it was impressive.
Jeffrey Combs was named 3 times because he plays 3 different characters.
And they actually interviewed a lot of those people, and they didn't make it into the doc because of time. It was about a little over 90 minutes, around 2 hours long. That was my complaint. I'm giving complaints instead of compliments because it was great.
It was fantastic.
The second it starts and Max Grodenchik is singing I Left My Heart on DS9, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be tough to get through.
Yeah.
I would have wanted more. I'm sure there is more. I'm sure there's a lot more on the DVD, because why would you throw any of that stuff out?
Right.
So I can't wait to get my hands on that and see the extra interviews and features. And there's in the very end of the credits, Ira and Nana Visitor plays Kira Nerys comes out, and they're sort of talking over the credits, and they're like, "Well, you guys didn't cover this and that and this," and he's like, "We did. We had to cut it out, so it's all on the DVD." So yeah. I thought that they did a good job of hitting all the major points, which is nobody thought we could succeed. We did.
Right.
Everybody thought that it was not a good idea to not be on a ship and to do serialization.
Right.
And now that's all anybody talks about.
Yes.
Everybody thought that we were pushing the envelope in terms of talking about religion, talking about race, talking about sex, which we didn't do enough.
Yes.
And sexual orientation. And yet that's a feature and not a bug. That's what people come for and remember.
Yes.
So is it part victory lap, part reunion, sort of loving reunion?
I would definitely say so.
Yeah.
It was really heartwarming to see. I was amazed that they were able to talk to Avery Brooks, so that was great.
Somehow they worked that out.
Yeah.
Or got some archival footage.
Right, exactly. And
talking to him is like talking to a jazz man or whatever.
Everybody said that. That was so funny.
And he's like, dig?
Yeah. Terry Farrell said her piece about why she felt like she wasn't appreciated.
If you know anything about the show, you know that there are so many sort of hanging threads about things like that, and the way that that's kind of a complaint, is that they touch them all, but
do they really go as deep as they could have?
They kind of introduced at the beginning of the idea that it was these stories are going to contradict each other because this is an oral history, and there was like one or two examples where you literally had two different people saying it was this, no, it was this.
Right.
But otherwise, they didn't really get into that.
And Armin Shimerman is like, it's Rashomon.
Yeah, but it wasn't really Rashomon.
Yeah.
Anything else? Would anybody who knows nothing about DS9 enjoy this? Is it only for fans?
It's entirely possible that you would enjoy it. I would hope that you have some experience, though, because I think you get, like, watching Endgame, I think the more, like, you know, if you hadn't seen any of the other films...
Wrap it up.
We you have to see, like, at least some of the episodes to understand what they're talking about and to enjoy it more.
I would guess so. Okay, so, yeah, check that out. Available soon, this fall, I believe.
Or is it... Okay.
On Blu-ray.
Yes.
Yeah. On Amazon. You can check it out.
Yeah.
Let's go to receipts. What are you reading? What are you doing?
Well, I saw this movie called Ingrid Goes West.
I've heard of that.
Yes. It stars Aubrey Plaza, Elizabeth Olsen, Kurt Russell's kid. I can't remember his name.
You have a name, but sorry.
Yeah. Who's in Lodge, what is it, 49?
We gotta go.
Come on. It's about a young woman who's lost her mother. She's somewhat mentally unstable. And she decides, her mom leaves her money. She decides to go west to California so she can be close to her latest Instagram obsession, played by Elizabeth Olsen.
This is the Instagram movie.
Yes.
You think Instagram was like, sure. Yeah, what do you need from us?
Yeah, I don't know that they were, because it's not
weren't.
Necessarily super positive.
No.
So she's like obsessed with her, and she works her way into being her friend, and they're hanging out, and it gets really complicated. But I think you said, and the movie even says, single white female. So it's like a modern day single white female.
Yeah.
So
would you recommend it?
Yeah, I would. The ending's a little... I don't feel like they stuck the landing as much as they could have. I wasn't really sure what the movie was trying to say at the end of it. And
it doesn't advocate for the destruction of Instagram.
No, it doesn't.
Well, then it's not a good ending.
And I don't think that they really treated her mental illness as with as much respect as they should have.
Awesome.
So...
I am rereading League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh, wow.
Ask me why.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
And by reading, I mean I'm reading the comic parts, and I'm going to save the text parts for later. Let's just say that. Like any good Alan Moore work, there's some great fluid comic storytelling, and then...
Yeah.
Time to read a book.
Yeah. Right.
Maybe I don't have my glasses, but I'm just kind of leaving those parts to... I'll come back to them. But I'm trying to get a feel of the flow of the story. Because it's almost over.
Bits.
The last issue comes out this month, I think. The last issue ever of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Well, is that...
The end of the saga comes out.
Is that maybe why you decided to reread it? Like, subconsciously or something?
Yeah, I guess.
Wow.
It's also good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But maybe not.
Maybe not?
We'll have to talk about it.
Oh.
We'll do it on the show.
Okay.
We'll talk about it on the show.
All right.
Oh no, we gotta keep going.
Okay.
We have to keep going. It's that time. Talk about the bells. The game. So I watched this YouTube channel called Alt-Shift-X.
Okay.
Which is like a cut command, or what is Alt-Shift-X? Is
that
an Apple command?
I don't know.
I don't know my commands well enough. Anyway, they do these really good dissections of TV shows, and recently they've done a lot of Game of Thrones stuff, of course.
Sure.
And so their Game of Thrones guy, the beginning of every episode, he always says like, Game of Thrones season 8 episode 5 is a tale of, and it just has a certain way that he says it. Makes sense to the two people possibly listening to this who also listen to those. So anyway, say something that has not been said by everybody else in these 5 minutes we spend on Game of Thrones.
Oh my God. I don't know. That's really hard.
Well, say your impressions, but don't just describe what happens.
Dani goes nuts. She somehow breaks and snaps. And it's really unclear, like, even within the containment of this single episode, it is not clear enough to me on her face that she has made this decision that I am going to...
I take it back. She burned the slavers and Marine, and she burned this guy, and she burned the Tarleys, and so, I mean, you didn't see this coming. You just weren't paying attention.
No. Do you remember when, like, one of her dragons, like, killed a kid, and then she locked her dragons up? Because
she's crazy. Like, she's crazy. We said she's crazy.
She has not been crazy or shown signs of craziness or mental instability.
I saw something that said, it was a good point, that foreshadowing is not characterization.
Yeah.
So you can put one line in somewhere about something, have a character act in a totally different way, and then hit a certain point and just do what you want them to do so the story can continue, and that is unmotivated action.
Yes. And it seems unmotivated. Like, I don't know why she decides I'm going to, like, burn all these innocent people. Why doesn't she just go for Cersei? I know.
D&D hate women.
I know. But why doesn't she just go and barbecue Cersei and be done with it?
She didn't know where she was, even though she was standing right
in the
balcony.
window in, like, her finery.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just... It's incredibly infuriating and frustrating, and I feel like they have tarnished this character that they have built up and advanced for, like, so long.
To me, it proves that there was never any point. Like, I never liked any of Dany's storylines. I know that you've got a character it's like running a literal Dungeons and Dragons D&D game where you've got one character that for whatever reason gets separated from the rest of the pack, and so they're kind of doing their own thing, and you agree as a game master to let them run their own side thing, but it doesn't matter. The rest of the players don't really care what they're doing. You should just have everybody together.
Right.
And so for 6 or so seasons, 5, 6 seasons, she's off on her own doing not interesting things.
That's true.
With actors who are clear, like Ed Scream, like they're just literally people that they're just bringing in for 2 episodes because they're going to get barbecued by Dany, so that you don't have the charismatic, or good actors that you have back in the Westeros plots or Westerosi plots. And so I never cared. I never gave 2 shits about anything that Dany did, but I thought it's important because she's learning to rule,
be a good
and
leader.
She's learning to make big sacrifices. And it's like, no, now she's just here, and we need somebody for Jon to kill so he can take the throne. There we go.
I know. I think Arya is going to
Where's
try
my
to
boo
kill
button?
her.
No, that's a Jaguar button, but anyway.
I think Arya is going to try to kill her, personally.
Oh, yeah. She's gonna be her on Tyrion's shoulders in a trench coat, wearing Grey Worm's face. Knock, knock.
Yeah, exactly. I think there'll be people fighting to kill her. So, which is sad and upsetting.
I think we should sign a petition to see it. No, I don't know. It's just it's disappointing. It's hard to end
very
things.
Disappointing.
You clearly knew that you were going here. And you thought her being jealous that people like Jon more
and
than
they fear her
was enough motivation for her to go, screw it, I'm going to kill 200,000 people.
I know. But I have to say one other thing. I was not happy with how Cersei and Jaime died in this either. I thought that both of them deserved better deaths than this.
For Game of Thrones, by the way.
Yeah. I thought that they deserved better deaths than this. I mean, they're literally crushed by the castle. Like... Really?
Well, she's crushed. It's a metaphor. You don't get the metaphor? She wanted to hold on to the castle, and now she's got it.
I got the metaphor. I just thought it was stupid.
No, I can understand something I think is stupid.
Right.
It's actually easier to understand.
Yeah.
I think that it's bad storytelling. I think it's also bad news for lovers of the books, because George R.R. Martin has always been interested not in shining, unblemished characters, but people who need redemption. And honestly... asking whether you can get redemption. Maybe the answer is no.
Right.
I'm not sure that he intended for the answer to be no across the board. Nobody is redeemed.
Right.
Cersei dies scared, and while she's with
she's
the other guy who
Jaime.
thought he had got a new life and didn't. The Mountain is killed by the Hound, who tells Arya she can walk away, and she could have just said, and so can you. Let's go start that spinoff.
Right.
Why do you have to do this?
Right.
You are just throwing your life away.
Right.
Brother Ray, who was mercilessly slaughtered by some assholes, but was trying to teach you that you could do something different. So why not you?
Yeah. Right.
For me, this is the whole thing between Arya and the Hound, which seems anticlimactic because you'd like Arya to get in there and why'd you come all this way to just turn around?
Right.
But for me, that is the kind of motivated ending that we're looking for after 7 seasons. Not them together, but 7 seasons of a show where they're bouncing off of each other and they hate each other and they leave each other to die and they're going to kill each other or not. We finally get to this point where they have developed this bond enough for him to go, look, you know that I don't care about anything. I'm not like a mushy person, but you have to leave here. You will die if you stay.
Right.
And I don't want that for you as your murder dad.
Right.
That is something that we have been waiting for this entire time.
I agree.
And sure, the action side of it, we don't get to see her split kick 2 guys or something like that. But it makes sense for her seeing him as her murder dad, for him to go, don't do this. Go. Don't do what I'm doing.
Right.
And she's like, yeah, all right, fine.
You convinced me.
That's the best thing that he's ever done in his life. If you think about what did the Lord of Light bring Beric back 7 times for, so he could just stand in a doorway so she can kill the Night King? For sure, whatever.
Right.
But that's why the Hound has been here. He has been here. His whole life has been leading up to this point where he could save this girl who is going to go on and do better things.
Right.
And the Lord of Light wasn't even asked about it.
Right, exactly.
That's good storytelling.
Yes.
But unfortunately, it's not missing a lot.
I know.
In the rest of the episode. Oh no!
What?
He can't hear us. He's got AirPods with the 24 beeper in.
Oh my gosh.
We got to move on.
Okay. All right.
Recommend? People are going to watch it anyway. Who cares?
Yes, even though I feel like season 8 is letting us down.
Yeah.
And I really do blame D&D for this because they just...
Your parents are right. D&D's bad.
Apparently, no. I mean, apparently they don't care, or like you said, they want to just get to their Star Wars stuff. I don't know. I just wish they had given us better writing and had continued to write for the characters instead of write the plot.
We're running out of time.
I know.
Yeah. I agree. Let's get to our feature.
All right.
Which should not be rushed through, but we've got a leisurely 10 minutes to talk about it. And so I feel like that we can really get it done.
All right.
We're talking about a movie called 4 Months, 3 Weeks, and 2 Days.
Yes.
Which came out in 2007.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Romanian art film, although I would challenge, is there Transformers? Are there Romanian action films?
Right, I don't
Aren't
know.
all Romanian films art films
Yeah.
at this point? But it is a quote-unquote art film written and directed by Christian Mungiu, and it was at Cannes, its premiere, and it won the Palme d'Or at Cannes, which is basically it's the best film. It's the best film at Cannes in 2007. This is the Romanian, so I apologize. But it stars Adi Karaleanu and Luminita Georgiou.
Sure.
Seems pretty good, right?
Yeah, that's pretty good to me.
No, please. I'm just like you. In the starring roles, what happens in this film?
This film is about 2 college students. One of them has gotten pregnant this is during the time in Romania where abortions were illegal.
1987.
Yes. And I think contraception was also illegal or not made readily available at this time.
Yeah, I didn't quite get the particulars there, but it is a religious country, as much as you can be under the auspices of the Communist Party, but it's this sort of fit in state religion type thing. So yeah, I bet it would be pretty tough to get that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So one of them has gotten pregnant, and they have contacted this guy who does illegal abortions. And
this is, I don't know if this is a Romanian name, but his name was Baby. So he was like Dr. Baby.
I know.
Why don't you just call yourself Captain Abortion?
I know. It's pretty bad.
Is Mr. Dead Fetus here? Yeah. Been looking for this guy.
Yeah. So it's more or less takes place in this. It's one day. The film takes place over one day.
Or is it 2 days?
Is it 2?
It's probably just one day.
I think it's 1.
Yeah.
So there, the one girl is helping the other one throughout this process, and they have to get a hotel room, and that doesn't go as well as
which
it
isn't
could've.
just like pulling into Motel 6 and being like, "What's up? Here's my credit card."
Right.
Like, you get the idea, because I've never really thought about this before, or since I've read a Tom Clancy book, I guess. But how does the state police work? Like, who are the Romanian state police?
Yeah.
The Secretariat or whatever they were. Like, they were some of like the worst in the Eastern Bloc countries. And it isn't like the hotel is working for the state police.
No.
But if you do something, if you break some law,
Yes.
it's like the lady calling the cops on a kid selling water or something like that. Like, when the cops show up, it isn't just like de-escalate. Why don't you just give the guy what he's looking for type thing. They're the secret police.
Right.
And as soon as the secret police come and they run your papers and they're fake papers or they're expired, you go to prison.
Right.
So even pissing off a hotel clerk could be
bad
you're
news.
in a gulag tomorrow.
Yeah.
And there's all these rules about having to like leave your ID with them, and she doesn't have an ID. That's kind of like a really big problem, and she has to kind of skirt around that by kind of bribing the clerk with some cigarettes. And so there's a lot of like mundane everyday life things that happen in the movie. It's just following these two girls, but there's this underlying air of tension that has nothing to do with the soundtrack, which is extremely minimal, or somebody pointing a gun at you. Like, you just know that this could get bad real fast.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think it does in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It's not great.
It gets about as bad as it could.
Yeah, I agree with you. So I think the friend who's not having the abortion, feels like by the end of it, like a little bit like she's a little pissed at her friend who had the abortion, because she kind of lied a little bit to the guy. Like, she said that she was her sister, and she wasn't. She's the roommate.
Yeah.
And she said she was she told the guy that she was only like 2 months along, and she said, well, that was true, and I called you, but now I'm 3 months. And then she was like, well, maybe I could actually be 4 months.
Right.
And it just gets tenser and tenser when he's meeting them at the hotel.
Mr. Baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that thing where there's a lot of things going on in this movie just in terms of the characters' relationships with each other.
Yes.
And the sort of tensions, but like the deceptions, and it's like her. So she Otilia or something is like the main character's name, and then her friend Gabita is the girl who's getting the abortion, and she's helping her friend, which is great, but at the same time, it's like this super unreliable friend. So if you've ever got an illegal abortion, if you've ever, like, I don't know, set up a thing where it's like, let's say we want to get some tickets in the rush line for a show.
Sure.
So you need to be there at 6:30 on the dot, because that's when the box office opens.
Yes.
I'll meet you there.
Right.
We get in line. You're paying for them, so you bring the money. We get in line. We wait, see what they've got for the tickets. You need all these plans these steps in this plan to come off.
Yes.
And Gabita is not the kind of person that can handle that kind of thing.
No.
And so every single point, we find out that there's something else that she's forgotten or screwed up, and she's the one that needs the help.
Yes.
And we go through the whole thing, and it all works out. Semi-spoilers.
Yeah.
And she's just like, whatever. It's like, thanks, Bridge.
Yeah, I know.
I'm putting my life on the line for you.
Right, because any one of them could go to
that's not
jail.
all.
Yeah.
What do you think about Mr. Baby?
I thought he was kind of a jerk.
Yeah.
And I think he took advantage of these two young girls.
Yes, he did.
And, didn't like him. Even though, like, he is maybe doing something
I thought that he was an interesting...
but
well, I thought he was a
ways.
very complicated character who is half monster and half saint, because he clearly believes... Sure, he's getting paid.
Yeah.
Not just in money.
Right.
But he's somebody who clearly believes that women deserve this, and look what they have to go through because it is not available and it's illegal.
Right.
But he's also somebody who is absolutely taking advantage of the power that he has in that situation in a horrifying way.
Yeah, I agree.
We should have had more than 10 minutes. Final thoughts about this film?
Well, one thing I thought was interesting, which was obviously a directorial choice, is sometimes the camera would focus on only one character or a couple characters, and then the character would be talking off screen, and we wouldn't see them at all. We just kind of see the reaction.
Long takes.
Yeah,
it's a cinema verite.
Yeah,
and very, very long takes, about as long as you could get with whatever medium they were working with, and there would be subtle or just quick sort of changes. So it's all shot from one angle. They're talking to Gabita, who's not even on frame, about this thing, and they're isolated. And then one person will stand up in like a natural kind of transition. It's very much like a play in that way.
Yeah.
A lot of the dialogue. And then it's like, okay, now we're going to switch to this next thing. Or somebody goes to the bathroom. Okay, now we're in the bathroom.
Yeah.
You didn't even mention the sort of socioeconomic sort of exploration in that, like, Otelia's like boyfriend has lends her money for this procedure, and then he like basically clearly doesn't understand what she's going through, but she's trying to keep it a secret because this is legal. Like he says, "Oh, come to my mom's birthday party." She's like, "My friend's having an abortion." I didn't say.
Right.
So she goes to this thing, and it's clear that he comes from like a more well-off family. It's like his dinner party. Everybody there is a doctor or a chemist, which they say is like a pharmacist.
Sure.
And they're talking about how kids have no respect these days, but they've totally accepted like the regime because she is also studying to be.
She said tech.
Or tech or something like that. But I guess just because the way the government works, you're just assigned wherever. So if you get assigned to work in the boonies,
right,
it's goodbye,
right.
But the parents kind of accept that, but it's clear that she doesn't like that fact, and her boyfriend is mad at her because he's just making these stupid, young man demands on her,
right.
And she makes the point to him of like, you're not taking this seriously. We have sex all the time, and you don't even think about whether
the consequences.
If I got pregnant, what would happen? I would be going through this horrible thing,
right,
and walking the streets late at night trying to get rid of like a fetus. So
right. Yeah.
So this is how many years away?
I know.
How many years away are we from this?
I don't know. I really hope this is not something that happens in the U.S.
That's a knock.
I'm really nervous about this. I actually read an article about Romania during this time, in which
in 1989 everything changed.
Right.
They ventilated Ceausescu and his wife, which is like, was she part of the government or
I don't know,
guilt by association, and turned things around, and Romania is doing a lot better now.
Yeah.
They still have a lot of problems with just economic disparity and child poverty and stuff like that, but things are better.
Well, during this time, I guess there was a lot of women passed away because of illegal abortions, and there were a lot of children in orphanages that were not great
and you can,
environments.
Yep. Go on YouTube. You can find Romanian orphan was like a shorthand for like problems. Yeah. Problems. So anyway, would you recommend the movie?
I would. Yes.
Me too.
Definitely.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for our show. Thanks for joining us. I think we did it. We got it in under the wire. If you can go to YouTube. We are on YouTube, actually. Yeah, go to YouTube. Go to Facebook. Go to, where else are we? Twitter. We're on all those places.
Apple
Search
Podcasts.
for Just Enough Trope.
Yeah.
We're on Apple Podcasts. Go there. Subscribe to the show. Go to Google Podcasts as well.
Yes.
Stitcher, Acast, all those great places. Subscribe to the show. Give us a review. We want to hear how you think we're doing. Give us a rating, because at the very least, that tells that algorithm that you're listening. We can get our message out there, and our message is...
Robert Pattinson could be a good Batman.
Where our message is Robert Pattinson could be a good Batman. So give us 5 shovel faces. That's what we need for... No, I don't know. Give us 5 stars. And we'd appreciate that. I think we did it.
I think we did.
I'm
full amazed.
Success.
Yes.
Amazed. We were never not going to pull it off.
I guess. I think we owe it largely to you for keeping us on track.
We actually have a little bit of time left. What would you like to say to people out there?
What would I like to say? This is bad. I would like to say that you know, you can't illegalize abortions and birth control at the same time. You know, birth control prevents abortions.
I'd like to say, damn it, Chloe!
Oh my God.